One sunny summer morning last year, Shane McGow went tubing with friends on the Salt River. By the end of that day, a Maricopa County deputy would wind up with a broken leg, and McGow would get bitten viciously in a jail cell by a canine officer named Sergeant Shadow. McGow, 27, claims in a federal civil rights lawsuit filed this year that two Maricopa County sheriff's deputies tortured him by allowing Shadow to bite him for more than 3 minutes. During the canine attack, which was captured on 3 body cameras, McGow was cuffed and pinned to the ground in a holding cell of the sheriff's office's Blue Point substation. When you're subjecting someone to lengthy and continuous pain and maiming, torture is an appropriate word, said Stephen Guy, the attorney representing McGow. McGow's lawsuit also names the United States as a defendant, claiming that a U.S. Forest Service officer assaulted him by grabbing his throat twice. Meanwhile, the deputy who broke his leg in the incident, David Krissinger, is suing McGow. Phoenix New-Times learned of McGow's case during a review of recent lawsuits against the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, an agency that paid out millions for lawsuits, often for jail brutality cases, under former Sheriff Joe Arpaio. New-Times then contacted McGow's Scottsdale attorney, Guy, who released body cam videos he obtained from the county. The bite wounds on McGow's upper thigh. This picture was taken days after the canine attack. Courtesy of Shane McGow. In notices of claims filed before his lawsuit, McGow asked for $4 million from the sheriff's office and $2 million from the Forest Service as compensation for his physical injuries and emotional distress, as well as punitive damages and attorney's fees. Shadow's biting caused deep puncture wounds on McGow's upper thigh that have left permanent scars. While Arpaio is no longer in control of MCSO, the facts of this case prove that his legacy continues, and Sheriff Paul Penzone has not yet done enough to reverse Arpaio's long-ingrained culture, states a November 13, 2017, notice of claim to the county. Penzone, who took office in January 2017, said in a statement, "The complexities of this event are and have been under thorough review, evaluation and litigation. We will provide appropriate details and responses to this event at the conclusion of the internal investigation and litigation." The U.S. Forest Service did not respond to requests for comment by deadline. A trial date has not yet been set. McGow believes the officers in the holding cell were seeking vengeance for 2 other Maricopa County deputies with whom he fought earlier in the day. It all began on July 15, 2017, when McGow and 3 friends returned to a parking lot after a morning of tubing on a well-used stretch of the Salt River on the Tonto National Forest. McGow's group got into an argument with an Uber driver, who claimed that the truck McGow and his friends were riding in had hit his car. 2 Maricopa County deputies, Michael Finney and Krissinger, responded to the scene in a golf cart. At the time, they were working as private security guards for a tubing rental company. While Krissinger questioned the driver, Finney conducted a search of the truck, which belonged to one of McGow's friends. Sometime during this process, McGow yelled at Finney, claiming that the search was unlawful. He attempted to block the deputy from further searching the vehicle, a police report states. Police spotted a handgun in the car. According to McGow's complaint, Finney forcefully grabbed McGow's throat and restricted his airflow. The MCSO tells a slightly different story. In a formal response to McGow's lawsuit, which was filed August 13 in federal court, the department said Finney grabbed McGow to keep him away from the handgun. Both parties in the suit agree that after Finney made contact with McGow, the 27-year-old responded by striking Finney with a closed fist. Both parties also agree that Deputy Krissinger tackled McGow, and that during that takedown, Krissinger twisted and fractured his leg. Speaking on the phone this week, McGow said he regrets becoming aggressive with the deputies. "I could have not reacted as harshly. I could have dialed it back a little bit," he said. After deputies cuffed McGow, Forest Service officer Kelly Fleming drove him to a substation near the parking lot. 3 body camera videos released by Miguel's lawyer show what happened next, along with the edited footage of body camera videos from Alden Jackson and Kelly Fleming at the top of this page. Longer footage taken from the body cameras of Jackson and Fleming can be found at the bottom. In the videos, Maricopa County deputies Alden Jamal Jackson and Sean Eversole, along with Fleming, escort Miguel out of the vehicle and toward the substation. Canine Officer Shadow, kept on a leash by Eversole, accompanies the group. As they walk, Eversole tells Miguel, "If you make any aggressive movements, you're going to get bit." Sitting on a concrete bench inside a cell, Miguel repeatedly demands an explanation for his arrest. As Jackson struggles to unlock his handcuffs, Miguel attempts to stand up. Jackson pushes him back onto the bench. Eversole gives Shadow the command to bite Miguel, but the dog does not comply. Moments later, Forest Service Officer Fleming grabs Miguel's throat with 2 hands as she tells him to calm down. Miguel kicks in Fleming's direction while saying, "Bitch, fuck you." Police reports state that Miguel's kick made contact with Fleming, but Miguel's attorney disputes that assertion. Fleming grabs Miguel's throat again with a similar motion while saying, "Don't kick me." Miguel responds with more profanity. At this point, Jackson yanks Miguel from the bench and brings him to the ground. A few seconds later, Eversole commands Shadow to bite Miguel, beginning a prolonged canine attack that caused deep puncture wounds in Miguel's buttock and upper thigh. As the officers attempt to remove Miguel's handcuffs, Shadow repeatedly bites Miguel on his backside. Jackson has his knee pinned to Miguel's abdomen for much of Shadow's attack. Miguel alternates between screams of pain and pleas for the officers to call the dog off. Jackson successfully removes the left cuff from Miguel at about the 90-second mark of Shadow's attack. Jackson orders Miguel to place his hands on his head as Shadow continues to bite him. Miguel repeatedly squirms and says, "Yes, sir. I will comply, and please stop the dog." He continues to scream in agony and says, "It really fucking hurts." Roughly 3 minutes into the canine attack, Shadow stops biting on Eversole's order and Miguel stops screaming. The sheriff's office has stated in legal documents that the length of Shadow's bite matched the time it took for officers to have full control over Miguel. Although he suffered numerous injuries as a collegiate and high school wrestler, Miguel said that he has never felt pain like what he experienced during the canine attack. Every time the dog moved and tugged in harder, you could feel his teeth sink in. It felt like it was going to the bone. Miguel claims it took more than an hour for 4 emergency medical technicians to arrive and take him to Mesa Banner Hospital, where he was treated for his wounds. He was later booked into Maricopa County Jail in downtown Phoenix. Maricopa County prosecutors charged Miguel with 4 counts of aggravated assault, 4 counts of aggravated assault on an officer, and 2 counts of resisting arrest over the tangle with deputies Finney and Christinger, and for the holding cell incident. Miguel filed his notices of claim in November 2017 before pleading guilty the next month to a reduced charge of aggravated assault for the scuffle and Christinger's injuries. Prosecutors dropped the other charges against him. He served 6 months in Durango and Towers jails for the conviction and was released on July 21. While he was in jail, Guy filed a lawsuit. The sheriff's office opened internal investigations of the deputies involved in the holding cell incident after Miguel filed his notice of claim. The department's canine policy does not provide detailed guidance on the use of dogs to control handcuffed detainees who are still being processed. According to the policy, uses of canine officers in a jail setting include acting as a deterrent to behavior or actions detrimental to jail facility security, controlling inmates and suppressing jail facility disturbances, and assisting with inter- and intra-jail inmate movement, among other uses. Besides the government agencies, Miguel's lawsuit accuses Sheriff Paul Penzone, Eversole, Jackson, and Fleming of violating his due process and privacy rights. Christinger, the deputy who broke his leg in the incident, isn't named as a defendant in Miguel's complaint. But in June, Christinger filed his own lawsuit in Maricopa County Superior Court against Miguel. Miguel said he hopes his lawsuit leads to changes in how Maricopa County cops treat people in custody. "What happened to me should never happen," he said. Although his wounds have mostly healed, doctors told Miguel that he will have permanent scarring from the canine attack. Miguel said the area where he was bit is numb to the touch. He also bears emotional scars. Miguel recently started seeing a therapist for symptoms related to the holding cell incident, he said. The sight of police or dogs, including his own, have become triggers. I get clammy, blocked up, and I can't think and I start panicking in my head. It brings me back to what happened, Miguel said of his reaction to seeing dogs. The same happens with law enforcement when I encounter them. I kind of just shut down sometimes. Joel Robbins, an attorney who has been practicing civil rights law in Maricopa County for more than 25 years, and who has filed dozens of lawsuits against the MCSO, told Phoenix New Times that he has never come across a case where sheriff's deputies used a canine on someone in handcuffs. I've never heard of them bringing a dog into a holding cell, Robbins said. It just doesn't make sense. Watch longer footage from Deputy Alden Jackson's body camera. Watch longer footage from Forest Service Officer Kelly Fleming's body camera.